You got water? He's just bored. Oh, you got a lamb. She's just feeling like restless right now. So she's starting to mess with stuff. Yeah, so I walked JC here by herself all the way up to Washington. It was surprisingly hard. That was like the first journey that I ever did, like outside of the valley with my dairy sheep, walking wise. Like we've hitched rides down to Mount Shasta and stuff like that. But I'm waiting to take this wagon out as soon as it starts to cool down because it's actually easier for me to travel. Good boy, Wooly. When I was living out of the pack boxes, I was living under an umbrella. A number of different shelters that I made before that, like little wearable teepees and little miniature teepees. Walking the sheepies from that paddock over there with my teepee that we're work trading for. It's raining, so I go for my poncho. I invented this new type of poncho. It's 8 foot by 8 foot, so it's square. Therefore, it only needs to be tied up to one tree. I'm warm, waiting for them to get full. Warm in my little freestanding wool teepee that I can do this with. What's snowing out outside of our little freestanding sheepy? Keep us warm while we're waiting for your parents to graze. There they are. This is freestanding clothing that acts as a tent that used to be defined as camping paraphernalia. So I sleep across the back and they have the front half. This is a really great area that really would empower homeless people to be warm, dry, and safe wherever, is public. It's so awesome. Yeah. What I'm doing here, you guys have heard of guerrilla gardening, right? A guerrilla gardening is utilizing vacant lots, unused lots to garden and make use of. Vacant lot. I'm taking my sheep through here for more than 5 years now. No farms have access to this good graze in February. What I'm doing is I'm calling guerrilla grazing. Scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10 for sure. Freaking awesome. This your guys' land too? Is that all right when we walk through? Thank you. So I walk on the curb and let my sheep graze this side strip. So your half of this is all right with you?
We're there, that's their half.
Yeah, sure. All right, well, when we walk through, all right, you're awesome. Have a good day. I guerrilla gardened for 10 years. Good boy. This is 10 times at least more efficient than guerrilla gardening because I'm harvesting multiple times a day. I'm converting what's already here into milk. I'm milking in the middle of the Dollar General store before they open because we slept behind it last night. So yeah, now we got clean milk. It's assured. Whereas like when you guerrilla garden, they could sell the property, they could mow it down, a deer could eat it. This is assured. Multiple times a day harvest. Every morning I shake the night before's milk into butter. This is the butter I got. Big hard block of butter from just 2 days of milking them. And I always have milk. All I need is a half gallon of milk a day, and that's 2,100 calories. So for at least 6.5 years, I've gotten at least 50% of my diet from my sheep milk.
And you don't need refrigeration?
I actually have kefir grains in my main bottle. I have kefir grains, and so I don't need to refrigerate them, but this is my cooler. This is my evaporative cooler cheese cave, and it keeps everything down to 55, 60 degrees. So this holds my sheep pregnancy tests that have to be kept down to like the 55 degrees. It's actually a perfect cheese cave.
Yeah, because you have butter here that's not melting.
No, like, have you heard of an evaporative cooler?
I have for like a swamp cooler for
Yeah.
a house.
It's the same principle as when we sweat and it evaporates off. It pulls heat off of our body. I just take this, and it has an adjustment so that it makes it more of a spray.
Just water?
Yeah, and so I just do this twice, maybe 3 times a day if it's 100 degrees or more.
Yeah.
I just do this.
So what's the material?
It's wool. You know how they say that wool is very breathable, but yet insulative? It's 3 layers of wool. I made each, this is 2 layers, this is 2 layers, this is 2 layers, but then I have this 3rd layer around the bottom. So this is the perfect swamp cooler material. This is my bed. Well, then you can just imagine that my head goes all the way. I'm actually laying like a foot down further. But yeah, I can totally stretch out because this is 6 foot and I'm only 5.5 foot, so I can totally stretch out But I keep my backpack right here so that I can use it as like a chair, because my grain grinder is mounted, and it's really comfortable like this. But
you sit and read. Looks like you have a book here.
yeah, this book
right,
isn't. Yeah, I'm really disappointed in this book.
You have a lot of felted pieces there too as well. What are those?
So all the pieces that I have left over after making clothes. This is actually 7 years old. I made this with her mom. My second dairy sheep I ever had, and I've worn this every single winter. And this has lasted 4 years.
Great. So you have your sleeping bag or something in there as well?
My sleeping bag is in the back, and then my winter clothes are in behind that. A lot of this is my curtains from last winter. A piece for my curtain.
So insulation.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's breathable, but
because it gets cold here. How do you fare in the wintertime?
I have a stove, a mailbox stove that I'm able to have a fire. Now it's gonna start being winter. This is a really cool little stove. It's got a secondary combustion line of holes at the top right before the flames exit. So any smoke that's coming out gets burned a second time, so it's really efficient. There's like hardly any smoke at all coming off of this. I have 3 forms of cooking. I have the mailbox stove in the winter. I have this year round, and so this is really efficient. This is called a solo stove. There's like probably 12 things that hundreds of things that I've tested. This is one of those things. Solo stove. This is like $50, and it's gonna last. It hasn't started rusting yet, and at all.
Since you are off the grid and on the move, so how do you when you need power, for example, for your telephone, how do you charge it? You have any equipment?
This battery is absolutely awesome. I've been using this for over a year now, and it hasn't formed any memory. And this whole thing charges in 2 hours, and it'll keep my stuff charged for like a week.
For a week. So every week you have to charge the charger.
Well, I have a solar panel too.
Okay.
This is an important thing. This is my shower. This is one of the things that I'm very, very impressed with. You got to keep in mind, I'm an anti-consumer. Like, I'm impressed with this consumer product. Like, I advocate people get this thing, especially if they're trying to do what I'm doing. So this thing is it's got a mister for staying cool, and you can do anything all the way to like a stream that has a lot of pressure. But I have a wire right here that I just attach it, and it becomes a shower like that. And so I just sit here, and I also have a hole on the back side of both sides of my wagon open up, and so I have a hole on the back side, so I can take a shower when I'm standing up. But I like to just do it in here. But I just do and am able to get everything. And it's all metal construction, so I'm able to put it on my stove. So, and I colored it black, so it's able to solar heat, and the bottom of it is very efficiently made for heating it up by the stove. As you can see, it's domed, so any heat that would round out around the edge just gets caught, and it just heats up so fast. Like I can literally heat that thing up to 105 degrees in like 5 minutes with a handful of sticks. It's so efficient. That is nothing more than, it was only $50 too, $40 at Home Depot. It's actually a herbicide sprayer. Yeah, it's an herbicide. Yeah, it's so easy. And check this out. Like, you can just take it, and I tell people this is my sink right here. See, halfway in between is right there. I'd call that like a.
So the pressure is so great because you don't use much.
This is a sink too, but
yeah.
You can see this is this pressure. I take showers at 30, I guess it is. Where the green starts, I pump it up to green, so you can see how many times that takes. It doesn't take much at all.
So you only need human power.
Yep. That's my shower pressure right there.
And you don't need any power to do that.
No, and that thing has lasted me. I've used it every single day for over a year. The only thing that I thought was going to go wrong with that is seals, like rubber seals. It hasn't happened, and I've completely deformed the top of it and crunched it down because I use it as a tire jack. Before I got really good tires, I was having flat tires like constantly. And so I use that, I pick up my wagon and shove that underneath as a jack, and it squished this down. I put that thing through hell and using it every single day, and it still works just as good as it did the day I got it.
It's multi-purpose, so it's a sink, it's a shower, you palm your wheels with it, and it was designed for another purpose.
Yeah, it was designed for spraying weeds. I spray my sheep down with it in the summertime with the mister and myself to keep them cool.
Wow, look at that.
It's awesome. This is my milk bottle for when I have enough milk to do this. She is due like literally any second. I was thinking that'd be really cool if she was lambing while you're here, but yeah, she is literally like, she's bagging up. Oh, she's rubbing her head. Did you see when she was rubbing her head over there? That means she's starting to go into labor. Like she's starting to have difficulties. She's got, and this is our poop cups.
So you do that why?
To catch just well, I was selling their poop for a while just to show people that you can do that.
You're a subsistence dairy shepherd, so we'll work for local herbs, veggies, eggs, meat, etc. You have a barter system.
Yeah, I have a full scythe business that I wasn't able to work on there. I call it eco landscaping and scythe service. Lambscaping instead of landscaping. Cutting down the poison hemlock. Most of the stuff that I'm doing, I do just to show people that you can do it. A scythe is the best tool for managing poison hemlock. Like, I don't need to make money. I don't really want to make money. I want to stay as mentally free as possible to do new things. Getting paid to scythe this, 30 bucks. It's a double service because it's not only an end for me to be able to serve my small farmer community. I can hack all this sweet pea down in a minute or two and then take the hay rake and rake it up and throw it in the back of the wagon and then bring it to one of the places that I stay. And that's better hay than anything that you can buy. And I'm also starting to hand harvested hay is another. So I'm trying to I have I don't even know at this point how many different things that I have made money off and I can make money off of that other people could. It's very easy. I mean for anyone to do this. By the way, I'm a prepper. But I'm not like a normal prepper, as in I call it selfish prepping. I'm a community prepper. Like, I'm not so interested in trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic situation if everyone around me is suffering. So I'm trying to bring up the community so that they can all thrive. I designed this wagon with my genius friend Mike Madden. If you took plans that we have, you can have any welder put together this wagon for $1,000. You have to have double wheel BMX bicycle wheels. You need 24-inch because the actual design, we had to cut open the bench seating on the side because it was originally designed for a 20-inch wheel, but we found that the 20-inch wheel was so low that when you tried to bring it off road, even on mowed grass, if any of the grass touches the bottom, I have expanded metal and the grass goes into the corners of these and actually creates a lot of resistance. So 24-inch had the much better rollability to go over bumpier ground. In the wintertime, I have cardboard down there for insulation. If I need to, this is where I go to the bathroom down there, and you don't have to clean it ever. Like I'd be sweeping this out constantly. Like, see, this is from me putting my feet up while I was waiting for you guys, and I can just brush this off, and when it just naturally falls down there, that would mean me having to sweep this out, constantly. So it's really easy for cleaning. Have you seen the new forms of solar ovens called solar evacuated tubes? They're very, very impressive. And there's something that'll last you your entire life. This is one of the brands called GoSun, and these are called solar evacuated tubes. This is a rather new technology that I'm really trying to promote and get out to people. Like, I'm really promoting it to the homeless because we're having a really hard time with homeless setting fires accidentally and intentionally, the mentally disabled ones. This is a solar oven that uses these rather unorthodox trays, but they're very, very efficient, like super efficient. So efficient that I bake bread in the wintertime. It could afford to be a little bit thicker than this. This is on the thinnest side that it should be. My banana bread is done. That is so amazing.
How does it work then? So where do you put the food?
Okay, so this is genius. It's combining a thermos, which has a vacuum seal in between two layers. And so it's combining a thermos with a greenhouse. It's genius. So the only place that heat can get out is through this rubber cap in this hole.
You put the food inside, like in small pieces.
Yeah. Flavor is escaping. Oh my goodness. Potatoes, wild parsley, wild garlic, bulbs, and 3 different types of my sheep's very aged cheese. I'm making some wild carrot flour, sheep's oil, and lavender. And topped off with sheep cheddar cheese, wild amaranth. Yeah. This bread ball I rolled in the wild sweet pea flour. Chicory flour, chicory leaf. They make larger ones than this, larger tubes, but they're not nearly as efficient as this diameter. These guys didn't invent this. I actually am connected with the man who invented this. His name's Alex Key. Give him credit. Here's his story. So these tubes originally were invented 20 years ago to pump water through for hot water heating, and he thought it should be able to be a more efficient solar oven. Oh my God, I overcooked it. Holy cow, that's all butter. Tanky. It's as fast, every bit as fast, if not faster than an oven. I am not even joking. Eggplant and a tomato. Oh, good. It's something that like really needs to get out to the world because it's freaking awesome. You can also turn it sideways and you can cook soup in it. And I'm actually, as soon as I can get a 2-inch cork and a copper coil, I'm gonna make a water distiller out of it. And so this is one of the consumer items that I promote. Being an anti-consumer is saying a lot again. This, I'm really in love with this for grinding my herbs. I originally got this when I was living out of pack boxes because I didn't have the capacity to have a full-size grain grinder. I can't grind up fresh herbs with the big grain grinder because the wheels are so big that they'll just absorb most of it. And so this is this cute little wheel, and you can tighten it down and make it finer, or it was set for just my pepper. This is my kitchen drawer, I guess. This is my wok. Wok is another thing that you need because you need to be able to winnow seeds. I got a bunch of seeds that I collected, and I can't do that without a wok. These are some wild grain that it's not fully finished. I gotta grind it. I have my work gloves in it, and I grind them and then put them in my wok, and then on a windy day, bounce them, and then it blows out the shape. I didn't even go all the way through these bushes, but I got a bunch of salsify here. My sheep's eating the salsify. And we got one right here. All parts of it are edible, raw. It's got actually a pretty awesome tap root that's easy to pull up, even in like hard soil. This is called hawksbeard. Still a wild edible plant, but it's just not nearly as palatable or nice of a texture. I'm gonna fry it all up with my sheep's butter. Wild sweet pea shoots, mustard greens, wild parsley, and wild onions. 2 different types of my sheep's cheese, all fried up in my sheep's butter. I've been mapping out all the wild edibles that I know of in the community that I'm in over the last couple years. So I started with trees, and then I started the ground plants. I just put dots where there is spring water coming out. I mapped out the nutritional content of each of these plants. We got the 10 pounds of wild parsley that I picked yesterday drying out. All right, Willie's got a year's supply of wild parsley he's packing. Potatoes is the main thing that I get from what I call the artificial economic system. This is wild mustard seed. This is I make mustard. This is mustard. I'm testing this. I just started making mustard the other day. I used my sheep's soured whey with this ground up mustard seed and a little bit of salt, and it settles. As you can see, it's like liquid, and then the paste. But I mix it up with a spoon, and I made this a month ago, and it's got nothing but spicier. It's not going bad because it's probiotic. It's like as long as I let it breathe every once in a while, and stir it up, then it's actually becoming more and more like a wasabi. Like there's never any mold growing on it or anything yet. So I'm kind of testing to see how long this without refrigeration. I'm not even keeping it in the refrigerator.
But that's the power of fermentation, right? I mean, you're doing that with your cafe, you're doing that with the mustard.
Yeah,
you know?
Fermentation is everything because we're more microbes than we are our own human cells, is what they're finding out now. And so it's important to restock your body with healthy microbes. This is wild parsley from outside Ashland that I collected last summer. It's one of the herbs. A lot of herbs will lose a lot of their flavor within like the first 6 months of having them, especially unrefrigerated out in this weather. But this, I am surprised. It is the longest lasting herb. Rosemary doesn't even keep that long. Like I got rosemary and I got to collect that like every couple months. Yeah, this is fennel. Fennel stays good too for a long time. Oh, and I started, after I make sheep cheese, then you have your whey left that has a little bit of cream left in it, and you boil it, and then that creates ricotta. The ricotta will rise. And then I scoop that off, the ricotta off, and then I put it into my solar oven, and I roast it basically. I dehydrate it, and this stays good for a really long time too. It still hasn't gone bad, and I made that one 6 months ago. I don't want to eat it all because I want to continue to see how long it lasts. Here's some more mustard seeds. These are a spicier version. So this one's like a tasty, very full flavored one, and this one has no taste other than spice. So I mix them. And this is low fat ricotta, roasted ricotta, after I've taken the butter out of it. And then this is full fat ricotta, and this is really good. And again, it doesn't go, like I thought that this one would go bad first because it has the oil still left in it, but it's still good. So yeah, ricotta, you can take your whey and you can save your whey, and you can also reduce it down to like a syrup. So I have like a syrup that I squirt over salads, and then I got like reduced balsamic vinegar. So you can do a lot of things with whey and with the milk. Like besides all the varying cheese that you can make, the whey leftovers, you can also make a spectrum of a dozen different products. This is my big cheese press. It's all in one. I advocate this. This is $50 maybe. It's called a Mad Millie cheese press, all-in-one cheese press. It takes up no weight, takes up no space. This is my other cheese press slash kefir. It's going to be like a white rind brie. I got wild parsley in it. That's what the green is. But this is such a fine screened sieve that I can pour kefir into it that's thickened, and it will leach the whey out and become kefir cream cheese. So these are just coffee filters.
Yeah. And it takes you how long to make cheese?
When I pour kefir in here after it's already thickened, it just keeps getting better and better. So like, yeah, without refrigeration, you pour kefir in there, and after a week and a half, it's gotten nothing but better. And then past a week and a half, it turns into brie, basically. Let me show you both sides. So both sides open up for through ventilation in the summer. I wanted this to be like really comfortable, because everyone that's making these small shelters, they don't make them open up at all. They crawl in just the back, and then they're trying to figure out some kind of ventilation. It's like, dude, just make the sides open up, and then you got full ventilation. And so I have this layer right here because in the wintertime it rains more, and so I want this side to be a little bit lower. This opens up higher, but I have a lower setting on this side. I don't have a lower setting on that side. It's usually windier in the wintertime, and so I leave that side down, and I just use this entrance and exit. And then this is for my sheep's side. And I also have fabric that I sew it in, and it's actually a room. This is my way of being able to open this up, but still retain my heat from my mailbox stove. So, and then when I want to take a shower inside, I am able to take this and throw it over the back so it doesn't get my stuff wet, like that. And then I hang my poncho from that carabiner so that it protects all that stuff. That's how I keep everything dry while I take a shower. And this is how I keep everything warm inside in the wintertime when I want to give my sheep their room, their little tent. I guess it's like a tent.
But normally you're moving every few days, or how does it work?
If it was up to them, they would be moved constantly. And if I don't move them, like if I stayed on this property for 72 hours, the milk production would drop because their interest would drop. And the whole design of this is so that I can walk them around continually, ideally, and absolutely maximize their milk production for survival, and not just survival. And this roofing has lasted a year and a half, opening it thousands and thousands of times. It's the pack boxes that I made out of this. I used them for a year and a half before I had to make a new pair, and that was with like 50 pounds like hanging. It's plastic cardboard. They call it chloroplast or corrugated plastic. You guys want to go graze somewhere else? Huh? Want to go graze somewhere else? Two biggest problems right now is our small farmers being put out of business so that we don't have enough local food security. Problem number two is we have an exponentially growing homelessness problem. And so what I'm seeing is that those two problems can actually work together to become their own solutions. And how much the Rams love to pull this. They love the job because the homeless don't have apparently a purpose in life, and they're being convinced to give up hope. Whereas if they knew that they are the perfect candidates for being farmhands, the free farmhands. Let's go. Here's the thing, all the small struggling farmers need affordable labor help, and the one thing that they can trade instead of having to pay for that labor is living space. And so living in a tent, at the very least, if you're homeless on a farm's land, is a great deal. Not only for the homeless, but also for the farmer. Oh, this is another thing. You have to have these types of stakes in order to do what I'm doing. There's no other way you could do what I'm doing. These leashes are also, like extendable leashes are another part of that dozen things. Okay. If we can figure out how to, at first, just promote the idea that homeless can do that, then it'll start that ball rolling. It's been a huge help for me because like I've been a homeless by choice so that I could have more mind space to receive these things for like 12 years now. You have to have poop cups because otherwise the communities will hate you because you'll have poop all over their sidewalks.
Bye.
Yay. Thank you for your patience, kids. You guys are awesome.
So do you get tired of this lifestyle? I mean, it's probably...
No, it's going to be so much better once either the economy starts to become unstable enough perceivably to everyone else to get in the same mind frame that have been in for 10 years that got me involved with this. Once people start to do this, and it's already started to happen. The most basic thing that we've been conditioned with is the socioeconomic ladder. And so I'm obviously, like perceivably homeless. Sometimes the girls help pull. Anything that's coming from above us is to be respected more. Thank you. And anything that's coming from below us is to be less respected.
America is a land of vast, open spaces, best explored 1 mile at a time. But while we've long romanticized the open road, very few of us would want to live here.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round.
But then there's the Shanup family.
Wheels on the bus.
Robin, Robert, and their 4 kids, all under the age of 10. Until recently, Robin was a stay-at-home mom, and Rob worked long hours as a financial planner in Orange County, California.
I'm working at a very good office with very good people. We owned a home.
We were normal.
Yeah, we were normal at one point.
That is until
We kind of started questioning the mentality that just because you have kids, everything is put on hold. We love to travel, and we thought, well, why can't we just bring our kids with us?
now the family of 6 eats, sleeps, and lives in a converted school bus.
So this is it.
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home.
Can stand up.
Just barely.
How many square feet is this?
250.
She knows right off the top of her head.
Yes.
We caught up with them in rural Tennessee.
We see what we're doing, too, as a large part of our kids' education. I mean, they're pretty young, and they've seen the Declaration of Independence. They've seen the Lincoln Memorial. They've seen a lot.
Robin homeschools the kids, and Rob is still a financial planner.
Do you ever have clients say, I don't want to take money advice from a guy living in a bus?
Yes. Yeah. A few, and then they became clients.
When they understand that it's a lifestyle, not a consequence.
Yes. It's a lifestyle,
We're
not
not doing
not
this because something
consequence.
happened. We chose it.
I consider a lot of these people conscientious objectors to the culture we're in right now, which is really get on this work treadmill with no guarantee of, any sort of safety net, and yet you should still pledge allegiance to the culture of the endless work week.
Jessica Bruder, who chronicled van life in her recent book Nomad Land, says that the movement accelerated during the housing crisis of 2008 and hasn't stopped a decade later.
Millennials I met on the road said, look at this, I can't pay back my student debt, or I don't want to go into debt. I can afford to do this. I should do it when I'm healthy and spry, and they're out there doing it.
And these days, either by choice or circumstance, more and more people are making America's highways and scenic byways home. Thanks, at least in part, to Bob Wells.
What do you do 100 miles from nowhere, car breaks down?
You're in your home. You pull over and you make dinner. Literally.
Now, to be clear, Bob Wells knows what you're thinking when you see the van and the beard.
For most people, I think, the archetypal failed character in American life is the guy in the van down by the river. That's it.
You want to say you're a loser, that's how you would describe it.
And the first night Wells slept in his van, he felt like a loser.
I had just gotten a divorce, something I swore I would never do. We were fighting over the kids. I faced losing them. And now I'm living in a van.
But as the months rolled by,
Every step of the way, you just answer every problem as it comes up.
Bob Wells started to feel less lost and more like a man who had found a roadmap to happiness. 20 years later, he's sure of it.
You have enough money at this point, you could go live in a home,
I could live in a home.
but you're not.
Why would I torture myself? Why would I make myself miserable?
Oh, you must dream of that lever on the recliner.
You got me. I do miss my recliner. But it's not worth the sacrifice.
My name is Bob Wells, and I own this channel.
This former grocery store clerk from Alaska now runs a website and more recently a YouTube channel to spread the gospel of van dwelling. Equal parts frugality,
$8 on Amazon.
simplicity,
Pretty straightforward.
and freedom.
There is a different way to live.
Wells also covers Van Life 101. Like, is this legal? Mostly. Depends on where you park and for how long. Doesn't everyone need a permanent address? Sure, but there are mail forwarding services. What about work? If you have a cell signal, you can work anywhere. And of course, the biggie. How do you know?
The topic of today is poop.
You can find out that answer yourself online, where Bob's videos are approaching 50 million views.
I think the average person might come into a van like this and think, it's a little cramped.
I think anybody in their right mind would come into this and say, this is a little cramped.
All right, I'm trying to be polite.
Being diplomatic. I sleep in here and I live out there.
Bob Wells says today's van dwellers are a little different from the retirees that have long spent their golden years in RVs.
There are a lot of RVers who live a normal, happy life. Well, they transferred their average same life that they've always had and put it in an RV and lived exactly the same way. I see van dwellers as rejecting to some degree something about society. It could be the 9-to-5 grind. Whatever it is, it's not just the transfer of the same life they've always lived for the last 50 years into a different home shape on wheels. It's a rejection of some element of it.
Though van dwellers might be taking the road less traveled, their rolling homes can be as varied as any other.
This is just another way to increase the countertop space.
And this is a full queen-size bed in here.
From the cozy to the contemporary.
And that's run from solar panels that are on the roof.
This old airport shuttle even has its own music studio. Still, you're right if you think van life is not an easy life. As I found out when I tried to make a rented minivan a mini home, even with Bob Wells as my neighbor.
My short-term plan is to find a shower.
That's your short-term plan?
And a basin I can wash and shave with. Maybe I'm not cut out for the van life.
Wells says he's committed to helping everyone find their own answers out here on the not-so-lonesome road.
It is a story of desperation and of ecstatic victory.
Wow. Do you feel like your message is chipping away at the model of America that exists today?
I hope so.
Not to put too fine a point on it.
No, yeah, I hope so. That's my goal.